Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped accepting the barriers placed in front of you. Welcome to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy, the podcast dedicated to discovering the alternatives. Each week, we tackle the 3 hurdles of limitations that get in our way: the external pressures of society, the internal noise of self-doubt, and the physical challenges that try to slow us down. Together, we will uncover the solutions to help us live our best lives. And now, your host, Trace Kingham.
Welcome to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy. I am Trace Kingham, and today is episode 11, Redirection, Not Rejection, the Power of the Pivot. And today we're talking about one of the most jarring external hurdles that we can face, an unexpected job loss. We can't always control the circumstances around us, but we can absolutely control how we respond to them. So today I have a guest that is a dear friend, colleague. We've known each other, 30 years now. So Cindy Marshall, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So really proud of how you're navigating this. But before we dive into your pivot, I would love to see if you could share a little bit of limitless wisdom to our listeners that may have experienced an unexpected job loss or a major hurdle that they had to face in their life that really changed the direction of where they were headed.
I leaned into friends, former colleagues, sometimes for them to just listen to me wail on and on, oh, woe is me. But then I started to come out of it and listen to advice and listen to the voice in my head. Mm-hmm. One of the things that someone said to me early on was to take yourself with some grace during the time. Don't beat yourself up. Treat yourself with kindness. Mm-hmm. So I did that. What was hard for me was to slow down and take in the moments that came after the job loss, because I'm a very energetic person. I'm always going 90 miles an hour because that's comfortable for me.
And that's true. I will attest. You are the Energizer Bunny.
Yes, that's what I've been called. And that was very difficult. Mm-hmm. That was very difficult. The other thing that happened that I learned about myself, or maybe I relearned it, was sitting quietly alone at home in these turbulent time. I'm going to call it a turbulent time.
Sure.
And what I did to myself was I was sitting with this to trying to get through it, but there was a whole week I didn't leave my house. And I shut myself off from everybody, not necessarily deliberately, but I did it. And that made my recovery more difficult. Because I'm a people person, mm-hmm. and I need to go and do, and I need to be around people. And so by the end of the second week, I was like, you have to get out of here. Even if you just go to the grocery store, you just got to get out. Yeah. And that helped. And that began to give me balance again, which I always have to work on because I go 90 miles an hour. So that was familiar to me, but it was unfamiliar to me when I kind of sequestered myself from the rest of the world. I mean, sometimes people would call me and I didn't even answer the phone. Mm-hmm. I was pretty pathetic.
No, I mean, you were dealing with a loss, and there's the stages of loss that we all have to go through as human beings, and you were going through it maybe a little longer than others, but everyone handles it a little differently. So again, giving yourself that grace, looking back, that you needed the time.
Yes,
I
did.
We've talked on this show about the power of pause. Just had a great conversation with Karen where we talked about how, we have to, even in our daily busy schedule, take a time and call a client or a colleague and say, you know what, I can't do this right now. I need to push this meeting off to the next day. So that's what you're sharing, is you're taking a little bit of pause and in reflection, and it's what you needed. You needed. So in that power of pause or that separation, I thought when we talked, the separating the worth from the title. Let's talk a little bit about what that means. It's a big shift that you have to make in the circumstances, that your worth is not what you do. Right. Your worth is who you are as an individual, as Cindy Marshall, as Trace Kingham. So Talk a little bit about what you're feeling about that separation of worth from title.
Going through your work day, each day, Monday through Friday, I think to many of us now, looking back, because I've got the long lens of looking backward now, we do associate our title with our worth. We don't do it deliberately, I don't think. It just happens by osmosis because we get up and get ready and go to work every day and do what we're supposed to do and clock out and come home and then
climb that corporate ladder,
exactly.
Going for the more money, the more title. And we just feel like if we don't,
Well, and for somebody like me, I have such a strong work ethic, not having been kicked to the curb. I've said that before. Having been kicked to the curb was devastating, and it touched my worth because my worth was associated with what I was doing, and it was taken away from me. I didn't give it away. Somebody took it from me. So there's that piece. So I think it was a mix. It was emotional, it was mental, it was physical. I mean, sleepless nights and waking up and saying, now what do I do? Because I did feel like my worth had just been completely ignored. Not my title, but my worth.
And then how have you come to, thinking about living in a limitless life? You've come to a place where now your worth is that no one can take your worth away from you.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Getting out, talking to former colleagues, talking to friends, like you who, we've come in and out of each other's lives for 30 years, personally and professionally. And so my best resources in getting sure-footed again about my worth came from the people that know me well.
Yeah.
And that could see me the way others used to see me, but it didn't feel that way when I lost my job.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? What are you doing? Where is Cindy Marshall going from here? Because I think there's some great stuff going on.
Well, I took a nice vacation and that helped.
Good for you.
It really did.
Yeah.
It was like this was my demarcation line. So the weeks before the vacation, I leaned into a pity party if I needed it, or calling a friend and saying, can you meet me for a cup of coffee, or are you available to come over for a glass of wine? And we just talk about whatever. And everybody's been very generous in that regard. But I made up my mind that when I came back from vacation, that's when I was going to move forward. And I'm moving forward now on my own. I'm starting a consulting business. I have had a couple of meetings with a couple of clients. I'm putting together, I've got my name. I've been very intentional about, I'm a big word person. I think you know that about me. And so I've been very intentional about what words represent what I can do for other organizations. I don't want to go back into the traditional workforce. I've been in the traditional workforce for 30 years. I pretty much learned everything the traditional workforce can give me. And there are some things that I don't want anymore from the traditional workforce.
Yeah. I mean, it makes great sense.
So all this designing and creating has fed me.
That's great.
So I feel even more healed than I did when I got back from vacation. It's only been a week because I'm developing a business reflective of my value proposition for other organizations.
I love that.
And that feels really good.
Yeah, really good. So
and
that's
it makes me happy.
That redirection, not rejection.
Yes. But I had to go through the pain of the rejection to get here.
Right.
It was part of the journey. There's no doubt.
And I think that's a really important lesson for those listening, is that things happen to us at all the time. Many little things happen that are rejection, and big things like a job loss. But it's allowing yourself, giving you that grace to go through the emotions that you need to go through, not trying to force it down. Because when we do that, then we can lean into bad behaviors, things that we're not taking care of ourselves, things like that. So I think it's really great advice for them to hear your story and know that.
And I learned more about myself during the journey. I learned I'm a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought I was, but this was particularly difficult. So now that I've completely passed the survival mode and now I'm in creation and, being relevant and putting a business together where I can share my skills, talents, and abilities gained over 30 years and give back, because I like value proposition in my personal life, and I also like it in my work life.
That's
it
great.
matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what is an ideal work situation? You're going out work on your own, you're being a consultant. What kind of clients are you looking for?
Well, almost my entire career, 95% of it has been in nonprofit, and the majority of that has been in health and human service. So going out and working with those nonprofits that need revenue streams to execute their mission, but don't really have the annual budgeted expenses to have a full-time development officer. Or maybe they need a part-time, but they don't know how to get a part-time person on board. And so mostly it's working with CEOs to help them help themselves.
Yeah.
Come in and create a plan. Maybe before creating a strategic fundraising plan, it's about research and discovery. What does the current environment look like? And when I say the current environment, I'm like, what's the last 3 years been like? I hate to say more than that, because then we get into the COVID years and that rocked everybody's world. And you can't compare that. It's hard to use that as a comparison. So the last 3 is good. And for those every business needs revenue to run, whether you're for-profit or nonprofit. And I'm the sales staff. That's what I do.
Yep.
But I love it. It's about the relationships, and it's about being strategic, but it's also about being creative. The creative for nonprofit A and the execution is probably fairly different from nonprofit B.
Absolutely. They each have
So
their own
customizing.
identity.
Yes.
Identity, brand.
Right. Their mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Their beneficiaries, their clients,
Great.
all those things.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. And I think you'll be great at doing that, because
Thanks.
that's how we met.
Yes.
I was an event planner at Limited Brands at the time here in Columbus, Ohio. And we were working on a United Way campaign, and you worked at United Way.
Yep.
And you were my rep, and I was the one kind of going around getting all the employee donations to their weekly paycheck. And you and I worked through that, how we did all that.
I think Limited Brands was kind of like my satellite office for about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. So it was a big project, and that's how we met. And then we've just continued to enter each other's lives, and here we are 30 years later.
Yeah, exactly. And
reinventing ourselves.
And we look exactly the same.
Exactly. We sure do.
Yes, we do.
Well, very good. Well, Cindy, thank you for everything. This positivity is great. I'm super excited for your future.
Thank you.
I love that you've taken this as a positive, turned it into a positive. I know it was a journey, but I think that's the lesson here.
Yes.
Living a limitless life. You're going to run into hurdles. This is an external hurdle. You had no control over that hurdle, but it's the way you handle it is how you can control that. So before we wrap up, I have one more quick question.
Okay.
If you give one piece of advice to a person listening right now who feels their world just got turned upside down, what is one little small step that you would give them that they could do right now, today, listening, just when they get done listening to this show, that they could do to help move forward?
Put it in perspective. Don't go off the deep end, and usually that's fueled by emotions. And recall what happened to you in such an extreme way that you just sink like a rock, because our emotions will do that to us. And I did it. Be retrospective and think of it more in literal terms in real life as opposed to, oh my God, woe is me. Because it happens, as you said a moment ago, these things happen all the time. And they do hurt at that moment, but perspective.
Yeah.
Have a healthy perspective, I think, is my number one.
Great. That's
Yep.
great. Well, thank you so much for being here. You're my first in-person guest.
Yay.
So I've never had anyone in person. We've always done this virtually. So this has been great having this
I know, it's
interaction
fun.
across the table.
Well, I'm a people
so,
person, as you know, so
yeah,
this is
so
what
this
I
has
like.
been perfect.
Yeah,
This has
is what
been
I
great.
like.
So, so sometimes barriers are placed in front of us. They're actually detours. So, to living our best lives. So if you're facing unexpected pause, dream big, reinvent yourself. Remember that your worth is inherent. You have a birthright to live a life that you deserve. And if this episode gives you a new perspective today, please subscribe and share it. Visit limitlesslivingwithpurposeandjoy.com for more resources. I'm Trace Kingham. Thank you, Cindy Marshall, for being part of today's episode. Embrace the pivot. Let's live limitless, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you, Trace.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy. Subscribe and follow. New episodes are released every Wednesday. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit limitlesslivingwithpurposeandjoy.com for show notes.